Honorable Mr. Dhoot, President of the SOCHM, Honorable Justice Kachu, Chairman of the Press Council of India, Mr. Rawat, Secretary General, Mr. Lamba, Sujata De, ladies and gentlemen. This is what democracy is all about. Options, points of view, and the independence and the freedom under the Indian Constitution to express our point of view, as controversial as they might be. I really thank Justice Kachu for having needled some of our consciences. And I will never dare to cross swords with Justice Kachu because he has the reputation, and the short while that I've interacted from a distance, because he's got nothing to do with the government, I really admire his strength of character and his determined views on what we should or we should not do. Justice Kachu, I have a topic given to me, which is digitalization and inclusive growth. So I can't really spend my whole time on putting away some of the assertions you've made in this house, because you'll get away. If I, as I&B minister, was to say even 1/10 of what you've said, you certainly would have headlines tomorrow, which I won't like at all. But there is one point, because we do seem to have two points of view. Though, coming to think of it, it really is not that different. The founding fathers of our Constitution gave us this Parliament, and Parliament has legislated a Cable Regulatory Act. That Cable Regulatory Act has a very definite chapter on content code, a very definite chapter on advertisement code, and many other rules and regulations. It's unfortunate that in our desire for the media to grow, and the sector media and entertainment has been promoted by across the political spectrum in Parliament and civil society outside. Why? Because it gives us different points of view. But yet the Parliament has felt the need of putting in place a Cable Regulatory Act for the do's and don'ts that you spoke about. It's our fault in our functioning that that Cable Regulatory Act has been ignored, and it's more, there are aberrations than conformance. The question now arises, you, like me, have ruled out a government authority. No one wants that. But the question arises, Justice Kachu, as you yourself have been speaking, and I follow your articles and speeches very scrupulously. You say that we, as Indians, need to enhance our intellectual capacities. We, as Indians, as a nation, have to think within ourselves, put a spark to our conscience that is what is happening, is it good or not? You don't want us to vote, and neither do I, and neither does anybody in this room, I'm sure, or outside, want people to continue to vote election after election, either on the basis of caste or on the basis of religion, which has been a practice maybe in the first so many elections. But the ray of hope is there. You have had elections in recent times where states which we still call the Bimaru states have voted for development, have voted for economic issues. And those people have voted who have not had the opportunity in independent India to have the same education as you or me. So let's give the credit to the people of this country. Maybe the progress is slow. Maybe the people who've been holding government and office under independent India have not been able to reach out to the last Indian. But those Indians who have not been reached out to preferred democracy over bread in 1977. And today, whenever they are being given an opportunity, are increasingly voting for more schools, more hospitals, more development than for caste and religion. So with that ray of hope, I have a point of view that the rules and regulations for media, cable, television, the censor board, which the Parliament in its wisdom have put in place, should be at least given an initial chance of self-regulation. It's when a person is given the responsibility of deciding whether he has done the right thing by 1 hour of superstition and all the dakyanusi baatein jaise hoti hain, I think somewhere down the line his conscience is going to prick. And maybe this is a slower process, but in my mind it is a surer process, because you will be converting minds and hearts, and that's a long-term advantage for our country. Let's give it a chance. Let's not condemn self-regulation per se. It's a slower method, it won't give you the thing. Let's put other mechanisms in place. What type of mechanisms? Digitalization. When I joined the ministry 3 years ago, I had a lot of interaction with the television broadcasters. Because people, whenever Parliament opened, for me it was like agony as a minister in the treasury benches to stand up and answer the questions of my colleagues across the political spectrum who would criticize the content of television channels. I would not know how to answer them. They would say, "Tum aurat nahi ho, tum maa nahi ho, tum dadi nani nahi ho, kaise tum content dekh sakti ho jo television mein dikhaya jata?" And I really had no answers. So I called the broadcasters, we interacted. Why are you putting content like this? It's difficult for me to keep away from sending you advisories, to putting fines. The ministry does that. Getting you off the air for 1 month, getting you off the air for 60 days, getting you off the air for 90 days, and if need be, the ministry has the power to cancel your license. I don't want to do it, I would say. And they would say कि दो चीजें गड़बड़ करती हैं, क्या है? TRP और दूसरा carriage fee. These were the two areas which most broadcasters, their associations, said that we cannot put content and not get the viewership, because if we don't have the high TRPs, the industrialists, the industry, the government will not give us the advertisement. And since there is no digitalization, the subscriber base is not tabulated, we have no subscription fee from subscribers, so we depend on advertisement. Around the world, electronic media depends on subscription base, the revenue which they earn from subscribers. And advertisement is second. And the next was carriage fee. I was told that there are 60,000 cable operators. Roop Sharma is sitting here. I don't think there are 60,000, because we have now begun tabulating. There are less. Maybe they become MCOs, maybe they are smaller MCOs. But the thing is that they had the capacity of 60 channels. The 25 channels on prime viewing were only 25. So the broadcasters had to pay carriage fee to get on to the first 25 channels. And government has mandatory channels are 8. Very few channels were left for good viewing for the public. So digitalization became an imperative to get the subscriber base tabulated, to reduce the carriage fee, and to move along with the rest of the world, which is going digital, and analog is coming to an end. But we can't do this. If there are thousands of people who are cable operators, I can't take their bread and butter away. So we tried to make a calculation that DTH is an alternative mode. They are growing by 1 million a month subscribers. If we don't move fast for digitalization, DTH is going to put a lot of people out of job anyway. So I'm so grateful to local cable operators, to small MSOs, to big MSOs, to broadcasters, that all of them have jointly discussed, interacted with TRI, with the ministry, and today we were able to announce a sunset hour that India should go digital by December 2014. We will then be able to tell which channel is showing too much of superstition, which channel is showing content which is not good for family viewing, because all of this will get tabulated and there will be no human errors involved. It was said that the only company which reads TRP, there is only one company in the country, covers only with 7,000 boxes a country of 1.2 billion people. A country of the size of India, 7,000 boxes does not reflect the choices of the people. But digitalization, by the time we complete this phased process, will be able to tell us what the people of India want. I will be able to know whether the Lok Sabha TV has begun gaining in popular viewing or not. I will get to know whether the Doordarshan News is increasingly becoming more popular or not. You will give people of India choices. You will come to know what those choices are all about. Today, the TRI has announced a tariff policy or the policies. We have kept the viewer as the most important stakeholder. The viewer. The TRI has said 100 channels for 100 rupees. I don't want to go into all the details of the announcement. It's there in public on the website, on the net. The viewer, the only thing he would have to buy is a set-top box. The large number of set-top boxes which have to be produced, we are all in touch with the manufacturers, with the parts which are imported, the duty concessions required, so that they should not fall short of the set-top boxes. They can be taken on rent, they can be hire purchased, they can be returned if the consumer is not happy with the set-top box and wants to go to another MSO. The choice again will be with the viewer, with the citizen. He will have 100 channels, not anything which is put on him. He will have a choice from the free-to-air channels. They will have to be divided: news, entertainment, sports, for children. This is what one is trying to do, so that you reach out with this big reform in the broadcasting sector to the last citizen of this country. We are having a new policy of FM radios. We've done 2 phases. And Justice Kaju, you will be happy that India is going to auction by e-auction almost 900 FM stations in every city with over a 1 lakh population. This is going to be like a little revolutionary step. Over and above this, this ministry, which I am fortunate to be associated with, is giving a great impetus to community radio stations. I'm just trying to show you the growth and the inclusiveness of that growth. Community radio stations. We are encouraging NGOs. We are encouraging universities. We are encouraging other cooperatives to run community radio stations with a reach of 25 kilometers. We are helping them. The whole thing, this whole pie of the growth, you talked of 9% for films. The KPMG report talks of a 14.9% growth till 2016. It's not small. Why? You are right. I agree. Why should only a few people make money? That growth has to trickle down to the last man, which is the viewer. And that is what my ministry is trying to coordinate, facilitate, and ensure. Community radio stations, films. We had the national award ceremony yesterday, all our dignitaries were present in Vigyan Bhavan. It doesn't seem there are award winners here as well. Look at the awards. Where have they gone? The Best Picture Award was shared with the Marathi film Deul by a film in a language called Biori. Please, I would like some of you to put up your hands. Have you ever heard of a language called Biori? It's you were part of the award-winning team. It's a language spoken in Karnataka. It's a small film, but made on the themes that Justice Karchu was saying. Please, Justice Karchu, you were there. You saw the awards. Who all got the awards? A man who's made a small film despite all financial restrictions and obstacles on the suicides in Vidarbha, in a village of Himachal. In the evening when I met that filmmaker from Himachal, he brought me a beautiful woven bag made by the society on whom he has made the film. All the films, if you were to analyze, and I think Mr. Lamba should help us, practically all the films which have been given the country's award, our awards, the national awards, are on themes which reflect the sensitivity of our nation, of the government, of the juries, independent as they are, the social responsibility of all of us as a nation, on themes which probably none of us go and pay 200 or 500 rupees in a cinema hall or buy a DVD or rent a DVD to see. No. There are other type of genre films which we all want to see. Because whether we like it or not, our daily lives are so full of hassles, disappointments and frustrations that we want to get out of all that and see something different. But these award-winning films are going to be shown on Doordarshan in a regular way so that 90+% of our people get to see what the real problems of this country are and how people are conscious of it. This is the way we can make that difference. This is how we can make our growth and our sensitivities and our consciousness more inclusive. Let's stop being elitist. I agree. I have been a political activist for 42 years. I have just become a minister. And I don't think of myself as a minister. 42 years of activism. I do realize that wherever there is growth, it has to be inclusive. Otherwise, it cannot be sustained. And I do realize that paid news is a major problem. The Press Council of India did extensive studies. Sainath was one of the major contributors to those studies. And the report is now before a group of ministers headed by the Finance Minister of India. It takes time. Sometimes it's difficult to prove that news is paid. We may know it, we may talk of it, but it's difficult to prove. This is where I ask the media, and a member of parliament, and I'm not defending anything, I'm just flagging issues, a member of parliament with the rights accrued to the member under the constitution puts in a private member's bill. We all have a right to put in private member's bill because I may have been working in one field, I become a member of parliament, I work according to my party's agenda and my private field should not get neglected. I have a right to put a private member's bill. Puts a private member's bill because as Justice Karju extensively said, there is a lot of concern in society that where are we going? Is this all what we are going to entertain ourselves with? There is entertainment, and to quote Vidya Balan, entertainment, but not all this is entertainment. There is something else we as a nation, our cultural inheritance, our traditions of music and dance, the legacies we are proud to have inherited in our country. India, a country of 5,000 years of civilization. There are some other things we want to see. Let there be choices in the channels. So this member of parliament may feel as frustrated as some of us do that today media is not really reflecting or television channels are not putting up what we want to see. Why does the media get so touch me not attitude? You create an aberration of paid news. Some do, not all. But everyone has to pay for it. But there are people in this country who feel that media needs to be regulated. Does that individual not have the freedom under the Constitution of India to hold on to her or his views? Each citizen, and Justice Kaju knows it more than us, each citizen is safeguarded to freedom of speech expression. But my freedom ends where yours begins. So let's not think that this speech, the freedom of expression, is only granted to one section of our country's society. I know I'm talking differently, but Justice Kaju provoked me. It is not one section of this country which has that total freedom. I, as an individual, I, as an activist, would like freedom for all of us. I think some of you are students from an institution. I would like you to ponder over these things. That freedom is for us as a nation. Each Indian, 1.23 billion Indians enjoy the freedom under the Constitution. It's only that some of us don't have the self-confidence to assert it. So let's look at this turmoil which is going on, the churning of ideas, thoughts, opinions. Let's not be sensitive to anyone who holds an opinion different to ours. Let's have discussions. I am so glad that this the sixth focus conference of the SOCHM is giving us this opportunity to discuss, to talk. As Amartya Sen says, we are argumentative Indians. Let's discuss. Something will emerge from this discussion. And before I really wind up, I've spoken much longer than I thought I would, but I would like to say that I would like to request Justice Kaju to please give us more time. The Indian Institute of Mass Communication has set up 4 chapters in Aizawl, Mizoram, in Amravati, in Vidarbha, in Jammu and Kashmir, and in Kottayam in Kerala. 2 are functioning and 2 are soon going to begin classes. I, along with the HRD Minister, we've set up a committee to look into all the media schools which have been set up by various media houses. I sometimes have a desire to call them, instead of schools, media shops. Our young children are being made to pay 2 to 3 lakhs for a course they do not know where their placement will, where it will take them for placements. Hard-earned money, 6 weeks, 2 months course, you get an employment, 6 months later a pink slip, and you don't know what that certificate will have. It has no accreditation. So we have set up a committee which will take a year, which will move around the country to see how these schools are working. What are the basic requirements to churn out young people who will cope with the growth of 14.9% of the media and entertainment sector? What type of training they are being given? How are they being made to stand on their own feet with self-confidence and the intellect which is needed to discern, to choose when you're given an option, which option will you take? That kind of an empowerment to make you empowered citizens of India to look after the media and entertainment. That's where we are beginning from, the roots. So that those who write, those who stand behind that camera, those who act in films know that I am an Indian. This is how far I'll go. This is what I will not do. Why? Because my conscience, my self-regulation tells me this far and no further. That's what I'm working for. Thank you all very much.